Ladies and gentlemen, winners are not born with special gifts or magical abilities. They are shaped by choices, by habits, by mindset, and by the standards they set for themselves. The difference between winners and everyone else is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the way they show up for their life every single day. Winners think differently. While most people chase quick results, winners focus on long-term growth. They choose progress over pleasure, purpose over comfort, and commitment over convenience. They understand that greatness is built slowly through consistent effort, not through shortcuts or sudden miracles. They are willing to invest time in what matters because they know the future belongs to those who prepare for it. Winners act differently. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They don't sit around hoping for the right moment. They move, they execute, they do the work even when they feel tired, uninspired, or unsure. Their discipline is bigger than their mood, and their actions are stronger than their excuses. That is why, while others talk, winners achieve. Winners respond to challenges differently. Most people break under pressure. Winners rise. They expect obstacles, they face them, and they use them as fuel. They don't fear failure. They analyze it, learn from it, and come back stronger than before. Where others see a wall, winners see a chance to climb. Where others quit, winners begin again. Winners also protect their environment. They remove distractions, eliminate negativity, and surround themselves with people who push them higher. They know that your environment shapes your destiny, so they choose a space that aligns with their vision instead of one that drags them backward. Their focus is sacred, and they guard it fiercely. But the biggest difference is this: winners hold themselves to a higher standard. They don't accept average. They don't settle for good enough. They expect more from themselves because they know they are capable of more. Their standards become their identity, and their identity shapes every decision they make. You can tell the difference between winners and everyone else in the small things. Winners get up earlier. Winners stay later. Winners practice longer. Winners repeat the basics until they master them. Winners keep going when everyone else stops. Winners also understand that failure builds resilience. It strengthens emotional muscles that comfort can never strengthen. Every time life pushes them down, they gain a new level of endurance. They learn how to trust themselves. They learn how to stay calm under pressure. They learn how to keep moving even when circumstances are not in their favor. This resilience becomes their superpower. It makes them unstoppable because they realize that no setback has the authority to end their journey unless they surrender, and winners never surrender. Another powerful truth winners embrace is that failure clarifies what matters. When everything falls apart, they discover what they truly want, who truly supports them, and what path truly aligns with their purpose. Defeat becomes a mirror that shows them their priorities, their weaknesses, and their hidden strengths. Every failure refines them, reshapes, and redirects them toward a better version of themselves. They evolve through adversity, not despite it. Winners rise because they choose to rise. They rise because giving up is not an option. They rise because they have tasted adversity and refuse to let it define them. They rise because they know that every success story is built on a foundation of failures endured, lessons learned, and resilience developed. They rise because the dream inside them is more powerful than the challenges outside them. They rise because their purpose is greater than their pain. In the end, the difference between someone who wins and someone who quits is simple. The winner got back up one more time. They refused to let temporary defeat become permanent failure. They refused to let fear become their master. They refused to let setbacks destroy their vision. They turned every fall into a rise, every wound into wisdom, and every failure into fuel. And that is why winners win, because no matter what happens, they always rise again. In the end, the message is simple, but life-changing. Winners are not born different. They become different through the choices they make every single day. Their power does not come from luck, perfection, or talent. It comes from their mindset, their discipline, and their ability to rise every time life knocks them down. They think long-term when others chase quick fixes. They stay consistent when others wait to feel ready. They take full responsibility when others look for excuses. They build habits that match their goals instead of hoping success magically appears. And most importantly, they get back up after every failure with more fire, more wisdom, and more strength than before. This is what separates winners from everyone else, not that they never fall, but that they refuse to stay down. Not that they never struggle, but that they never quit. Not that they are fearless, but that they move forward despite fear. If you adopt these principles, your life will transform you. Stop settling for the habits that keep you average. Stop allowing excuses to decide your future. Stop giving up after setbacks. Choose the path of the winner. The path of discipline, resilience, courage, and responsibility. Because once you start thinking like a winner, acting like a winner, and rising like a winner, success is no longer a question of if. It becomes a matter of when. Winners also eliminate habits that contradict their goals. They are willing to walk away from distractions, from toxic routines, from time-wasting behaviors, and from anything that stands in the way of their progress. They don't allow comfort to sabotage their potential. They don't allow bad habits to hold their dreams hostage. They are willing to make sacrifices because they understand that success requires exchange. You trade what is easy for what is meaningful. Another key truth winners embrace is that environment shapes habits. So they surround themselves with discipline, with inspiration, with order, and with people who push them toward greatness. They remove clutter, physical, mental, emotional, because they know clutter breeds confusion and delay. They build systems that help them stay focused, consistent, and accountable. Winners don't leave their life up to chance. They build it intentionally. In the end, winners are not defined by the goals they set, but by the habits they practice. Anyone can dream, but not everyone is willing to align their daily actions with their dreams. Winners do. They live every day in agreement with their purpose. They build habits that match their future. And over time, those habits shape them into the person who can achieve anything they set their winners rise after every failure. Winners are not defined by how perfectly they move through life, but by how powerfully they rise every time life knocks them down. Failure does not scare a winner because they understand something most people never learn. Failure is not the end. It is information, correction, and direction. While many people allow setbacks to break their spirit, winners use those same setbacks to build their strength. They know that falling is inevitable, but staying down is a choice, and they refuse to choose defeat. A winner's journey is not smooth, not easy, and not flawless. It is filled with moments of confusion, heartbreak, rejection, disappointment, and doubt. But these moments do not define their destiny. What defines them is their response. When they fall, they rise. When they break, they rebuild. When they lose, they learn. They understand that every failure comes with a lesson, and every lesson makes them smarter, stronger, and more prepared for the next level. Winners do not view failure as a sign that they are unworthy or incapable. They see it as evidence that they are trying, moving, stretching, and evolving. They know that anyone who aims higher will face more resistance. They understand that the price of growth is discomfort, and the price of mastery is repetition, experimentation, and correction. Failure becomes fuel for their rise, not proof of their limits. They take the hit, they absorb the pain, and then they choose to get back up with more determination than before. While others feel embarrassed by failure, winners feel empowered by it. They strip failure of its shame by refusing to let it control them. They talk about it openly, learn from it quickly, and move on confidently. They are not afraid to look imperfect because they know that imperfection is part of the process that leads to excellence. They do not hide their struggles, they embrace them. They do not run from mistakes, they face them. They do not fear being judged, they fear not growing. When you take full responsibility for your life, you become unstoppable, not because everything becomes easy, but because nothing can take away your will. Challenges may slow you, but they cannot defeat you. Setbacks may shake you, but they cannot break you. Failure may sting, but it cannot define you. Responsibility transforms every moment, good or bad, into an opportunity for growth and progress. In the end, winners aren't chosen, they are self-made. They rise not because fate favored them, but because responsibility shaped them. And the day you choose responsibility over excuses is winners do not rely on luck, talent, or temporary bursts of motivation. They understand that success is built on the structure of their daily habits, not the intensity of their occasional efforts. They know that goals remain fantasies until habits give them a backbone. That is why winners are intentional about the routines they build, the choices they make, and the discipline they practice every single day. Their habits are not random, they are aligned with the future they want to create. Winners recognize that their goals demand a certain version of them, and they are willing to become that version. They understand that you cannot dream of excellence while living with average habits. You cannot desire strength while practicing weakness. You cannot pray for growth while repeating the patterns that keep you small. Winners design habits that match their ambitions, and they commit to those habits with relentless consistency. They know that habits are powerful because habits are automatic. Once a habit is formed, it no longer needs motivation. It becomes your natural rhythm, and winners take advantage of this truth. They build routines that pull them toward progress instead of pushing them into procrastination. They shape habits that make success easier, not harder. Whether it's waking up early, studying deeply, training consistently, reading daily, controlling their emotions, or planning their week, winners shape their life around the habits that create results. To a winner, discipline is not punishment, it is alignment. It is a daily reminder of what they said they wanted and who they committed to becoming. They understand that habits determine destiny, so they choose their habits carefully. They choose the gym over excuses. They choose learning over entertainment. They choose action over fear. They choose consistency over comfort. They design habits that protect their energy, strengthen their character, and move them closer to their goals. Winners also understand the power of small habits. They know that greatness doesn't require giant leaps every day. It requires steady steps, repeated consistently. A winner is not the person who does one big thing once. It is the person who does small, meaningful things daily. They embrace the compound effect, the idea that consistent effort over time creates extraordinary results. Their habits stack, their discipline multiplies, and their actions build momentum. While others wait for motivation, winners rely on structure. While others rely on mood, winners rely on commitment. While others set goals for the new year, winners build habits for every morning. Their habits become their advantage, quiet, invisible, powerful. They don't need to announce what they are doing because their results will speak louder than any declaration. Winners occupy a different space. Not because life has been easier for them, not because they stumbled upon luck, not because the universe bent itself to their desires, but because they made a conscious decision to take full responsibility for their lives. This mindset becomes their anchor, their foundation, and their compass. When a person chooses responsibility over excuses, growth over blame, ownership over avoidance, they unlock a level of power that most people never even realize they possess. Taking full responsibility is not a comfortable journey. It requires honesty, humility, discipline, and a willingness to confront your own shortcomings. Winners understand that nothing changes until they change, and nothing improves until they improve. They recognize that pointing fingers at the world, at circumstances, at people, or at the past does nothing but weaken their potential and steal their future. Instead, they look inward, they assess themselves, and they change what needs to be changed. Winners refuse to hide behind excuses. They don't say, I didn't have the time. They say, I didn't prioritize correctly. They don't say, people didn't support me. They say, I will succeed with or without validation. They don't say, the environment wasn't right. They say, I will build discipline strong enough to win in any environment. By taking full responsibility, they free themselves from waiting for ideal conditions. They create the conditions through effort, discipline, and mental strength. A winner wakes up each day knowing that the quality of their life is in their hands. If they want something, they don't sit and hope. It becomes their mission. If life becomes difficult, they don't collapse, they adapt. If they make a mistake, they don't hide from it. They learn from it. If a door closes, they don't mourn it. They build their own door. Responsibility becomes their armor, their power, and their identity. Taking responsibility doesn't mean controlling everything. It means controlling what is yours to control your mindset, your habits, your reactions, your work ethic, your attitude, and your choices. You cannot control the economy, but you can control your drive. You cannot control who doubts you, but you can control your belief in yourself. You cannot control obstacles, but you can control how you navigate through them. When winners embrace responsibility, they stop being victims of life and become creators of their destiny. They stop living reactively and start living intentionally. They stop waiting and start doing. This transformation from passive to active living is what sets them apart. It gives them clarity, confidence, and the courage to take risks. It allows them to build resilience instead of resentment. It empowers them to grow, evolve, and rise every time they fall. Responsibility also brings freedom. The freedom to change your life at any moment. The freedom to rewrite your story. The freedom to rise above negativity. And the freedom to break cycles that have held others back for generations. Winners know that if they didn't come from a winning background, then a winning background must come from them. They become that person. They take the first step. They set the standard, morning or the perfect wave of motivation. They understand that discipline is built in the moments when you push forward despite resistance. Winners know that feelings are temporary, but outcomes are permanent. They remind themselves that a single day of skipping the work may seem harmless, but repeated days of skipping create habits, and habits create identity. Winners choose to act based on commitment, not emotion. They separate their decisions from their moods and treat consistency as a non-negotiable standard. Their mindset is simpler: do what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing. Consistency is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is a quiet, steady force that eventually turns invisible effort into visible success. Winners understand that the days when they don't want to show up are actually the most important days to show up. That is the day discipline is built, the day character is forged, and the day most people quit. Every time they push through their feelings, they strengthen their identity as someone who follows through no matter what. Winners also understand the psychology of consistency. They know that mastery is the result of repetition. If you do something occasionally, you stay average. If you do something consistently, you become exceptional. They practice their goals daily, develop routines that support their growth, and create systems that make consistency easier. They structure their environment to pull them forward instead of letting distractions pull them backward. They know that consistency is not about trying harder. It's about staying committed longer. Even on bad days, winners do something. It might not be perfect. It might not be impressive, but it keeps the momentum alive. They believe in the concept of never zero, never letting a day pass without taking at least one small step toward their goals. This tiny effort, repeated again and again, becomes unstoppable progress over time. What truly separates winners is this: they honor their commitments even when their energy, mood, and motivation fail them. They don't allow laziness to win you. They don't negotiate with excuses. They don't let temporary discomfort destroy long-term vision. They build consistency the same way one builds muscle, through repetition, through struggle, through pushing beyond limitations. Winners stay consistent because they know that consistency compounds. A day of discipline builds a week of progress. A week builds a month of transformation. A month builds a year of success. Over time, consistency becomes a superpower that ordinary people underestimate, but extraordinary people use to change their lives. In the end, the world doesn't reward those who work hard once in a while. It rewards those who show up every single day, especially when they don't feel like it. That is what makes winners different. They are not controlled by emotion. They are guided by purpose. They understand that consistency is the heartbeat of success, the foundation of achievement, and the true measure of commitment. Winners stay consistent because they know that their future depends on it, and they refuse to let their feelings decide their destiny. View of the journey. Short-term thinkers crumble under pressure because they see difficulties as threats. Long-term thinkers embrace pressure because they see difficulties as stepping stones. They understand that the path to greatness is not smooth. It is filled with struggles that shape endurance, strength, and character. Winners also understand the power of delayed gratification. They know that saying no to distractions today means saying yes to success tomorrow. They sacrifice temporary pleasures for permanent rewards. They stop wasting hours on things that offer entertainment but no growth. They choose habits that nourish their mind, strengthen their body, and expand their potential. Their priorities reflect their goals. Their routines reflect their values. Their discipline reflects the life they are determined to create. The long-term mindset also keeps winners grounded during success. They do not get comfortable after achieving one milestone because they know the journey is ongoing. They stay hungry, focused, and disciplined. They continue learning, improving, and expanding because they understand that remaining average is always easier than becoming extraordinary, and that staying extraordinary requires constant evolution. Short, Long-term thinkers quit early. Winners stay committed. Short-term thinkers want rewards now. Winners work for rewards worth waiting for. Short-term thinkers break when life gets hard. Winners rise because they see beyond the pain of the moment. In the end, winners succeed not because they are more talented, because they think further, deeper, and clearer than the average person. They do not live for today. They live for the future they are building. They understand that success is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and they are prepared to run the entire race. Winners think long term because they know that every choice, every habit, every hour, and every step becomes part of the story they are writing. They are not driven by the satisfaction of now, but by the vision of what they can become. And that mindset is what sets them apart from everyone else. One of the greatest differences between winners and everyone else is not their talent, intelligence, or circumstances. It is their ability to stay consistent, especially on the days when their motivation is gone. Winners understand a powerful truth: your feelings cannot be trusted, but your habits can. They know that consistency is the bridge that carries you from who you are to who you want to become. And that bridge must be crossed every single day, not only when inspiration is high. Most people only work when it feels easy. They show up on the days when they are energized, excited, or optimistic, but disappear the moment the work becomes uncomfortable. They treat their dreams like temporary hobbies, not long-term commitments. This is why progress breaks, momentum dies, and success remains out of reach. But winners, they operate differently. They show up whether they feel like it or not. They don't wait for the perfect mood, the perfect view. They do the uncomfortable things that most people avoid. And that is exactly why they get results most people never see. Winners are not different because they have easier lives. They are different because they make harder choices. They are different because they refuse to let life happen to them. They are different because they fight for the future they want. They are different because they show up every day with intention and hunger. So if you want to know why winners are different, the answer is simple. They choose to be. They choose discipline over distraction, courage over fear, progress over perfection, and purpose over excuses. They choose growth even when it's uncomfortable. They choose effort even when no one is watching. They choose to become the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but builds, works, and earns their dream. And the best part, this difference is available to anyone, including you. All you have to do is choose it. Winners rise above the average mindset because they understand a truth most people never realize: real success is not created in moments of excitement, but in years of consistent intention. Winners think long term, not short term. They do not build their lives around temporary feelings or instant gratification. They build around vision, discipline, and the future they want to create. While the world rushes for quick results, winners quietly construct their path brick by brick, knowing that anything meaningful requires time, patience, and commitment. Short-term thinkers chase comfort. They want pleasure today, results tomorrow, and transformation without sacrifice. They jump from one goal to another, looking for the easiest path, the fastest route, and the least resistance. They want success to come quickly, smoothly, and conveniently. But winners know that anything achieved too quickly disappears just as quickly. They understand that growth is slow, while progress is invisible at first, and success requires the endurance to keep going long after the excitement fades. Long-term thinkers make decisions that their future self will thank them for. They speak, act, and work with an awareness of the bigger picture. They don't ask, what feels good right now? They ask, What will move me forward 5 years from now? This shift in perspective changes everything. Their habits, their routines, their choices, and their mindset. They understand that success is not a moment. It is a pattern. It is not an event. It is a lifestyle. It is not something you find. It is something you build every single day. When winners face challenges, they do not panic or give up because they are thinking beyond the moment. They know that setbacks are temporary, failures are lessons, and obstacles are part of the journey. Short-term thinkers crumble under pressure because they see difficulties as threats. Long-term thinkers embrace pressure because they see difficulties as stepping stones. They understand that the path to greatness is not smooth. It is filled with struggles that shape